to the Mindset Michelle TV show. We're so super excited to have you joining us for yet another episode, and this amazing guest that we have today, Dr. Michael Barron. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me over.
It's so wonderful having Michael on the show, and even nicer for me because Michael's kind of an associate of somebody that's very dear to my nephew's heart. So thank you again, and a big call out to Crystal for connecting us, because for those of you that haven't come across Michael, Michael not only plays a mean game of chess from what I hear, but he also has a business in that transformation space, a digital transformation space, working with corporate clients and universities and all sorts of fabulous areas, helping them to understand and integrate the digital landscape that we're all working within now. But Michael, do you want to give us a little bit of an understanding about who you are and your background? How did you come to be working in this field?
Thank you so much, Michelle. And my journey into the digital transformation domain has been a fairly long and rocky one. So it all started out with me coming over to Australia at the age of 15 and enrolling in University of Melbourne shortly after to study for an arts degree. I completed an arts degree majoring in politics and economics. And just like many other arts graduates, I had to decide what to do with my life upon graduation, because I was naive enough to believe while studying that there's probably a job called politician. Then I realized there's none. And upon graduation, I had to find something to do. And luckily at the time, there was a big demand for IT workers. And while initially I found IT a little bit boring, I started working in the IT field. So on the one hand, and I'm a left-handed person, so I'm thinking with my left side of the brain more than with the right one. So on the one hand, there I was working in the field of IT. On the other hand, I wanted to do something really creative. And this is how I started thinking about transformation strategies that I could deploy in my work. It's because I could see things being done in ways that I felt were very far from optimal. I felt like there were better ways. I also felt like a lot of tasks were not human-centered, were not client-centered. So I was continuously asking myself how to make it more human-centered. And luckily for me, in recent years, the evolution of technologies has been truly instrumental in providing us with tools to transform things for the better. So I guess I moved into the digital transformation domain because on the one hand, I always wanted to do something creative. I always wanted to make a difference. And on the other hand, it had to be something for which there is demand in the business world, because this was probably the only task that I could undertake, because everything else that I'm good at was not so much in demand. There's no demand for professional chess players, nor there is demand for politicians. There's already enough. So I had to find something where I could combine my creative skills and acquire some business skills.
Wow, and thank you. You described that all so incredibly well, and I do feel with the immigrant and people coming here and their stories of finding a way to make a life and finding a way to create a successful life within Australia. When I'm not sure if English was your first language, but learning English, studying at university, and even understanding the idiosyncrasies of what a politician means in the Australian context when you're studying an arts degree. And I really hear about how, the chess as a professional chess player or the politician as a professional politician didn't quite line up. And so you saw this fabulous opportunity of combining your IT and what the market was demanding at the time, the IT skills, the IT background, but the gaps that you could identify in that transformation space, and recognising that this was where your creativity could come to the fore, and you could look at the tools and ways of making a difference and helping people, especially around that human-centered design. And what a fabulous evolution. And I know that you now have a highly successful business in this field.
Thanks, Michelle. And it's just like Rome wasn't built in one day, it didn't happen overnight. When I started working in IT, I had to start with an entry-level job. Then I was able to progress to project management. So it was a fairly long journey. I went through all the steps, and while always wanting to be creative, I always had to make sure that while acquiring new skills, while understanding how to change things for the better, I had to diligently do my job, and I had to understand very well what is required at all the levels. And from my business growth perspective, one of the things that I realized is that every crisis is an opportunity. Because when COVID happened, companies suddenly started calling out for those who could assist them to transform and to embrace the brave new world. Because this is when they truly realized that transformation is not just about making things better, it's about survival. It's about sustainability, and it's about constant evolution. It's not about technology as such. It could be technology driven, but it's much more about the approach, the mindset. So this is why I really admire the work that you are doing with assisting people and companies with mindset growth, because whatever you want to accomplish, it's all about the mindset. If your mindset is focused on growth, on innovation, on development, then you'll be able to embrace those opportunities. And COVID, of course, presented a lot of opportunities for myself and many other people. And I think it was also a learning curve for me to appreciate more how important it is to be innovative.
And I think that you've hit on some fabulous core areas there around the innovation and COVID and opportunities with that. Before we go too far into that, though, I'd like to understand with you're very diligent. I hear the word diligent coming through, because it takes a lot of hard work and keeping at it and keeping at it and keeping at it, even as you were describing, beginning in IT at the business analyst level and working through those different levels. What do you think now, having got to the point where you've got a successful business and you've kind of established more stability in some ways, what would you say for you today? What does success mean?
To me, success means going forward. To me, success means being able to make a difference to people's lives and being able to do something innovative that is not just innovative for the sake of innovation itself, but changes things for the better. This is what it is for me, because I think it gets to the point when you get an opportunity, and I think I'm blessed to get to this point already, when you get an opportunity to be able to go out there, offer your solutions that you have, and get people to look into your solutions. And now that I'm at that stage, to me, success is about being able to be heard. I think we all want to be heard, and we want people to at least examine what we have to offer, because there are so many wonderful people that I've been working with. And I discovered that everybody is so talented. When I first heard the saying that everybody is talented, I took it with a grain of salt, of course. I thought it's just one of those, mind-warming sayings to make people feel better about themselves. And the longer I've been working with people coming from all walks of life, the more I see how true it is. People are truly talented. And to me, success is being able to not just cash on your talents, but also fulfill your talents. So this is the most important part. And if we're able to do what we really want to do, then everything else is going to come together just like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle.
And I really hear that fabulous way that your success for you is about serving and helping others and celebrating in many ways what you were describing there as their amazing talents and the amazing skills that they bring to what they do, and really enjoying all of the fulfilling your talents so you can do what you really want to do. I think that is, you know, a real celebration of what success is being happy with what you do and enjoying what you do while you do it.
Oh, spot on. This is exactly what I think it's all about, because the jobs that I was doing at the early onset of my career, I wouldn't say I hated them, but they probably had less opportunities for me to do what I really wanted to do. It was part of the learning curve. So I really appreciate all the people who were bearing with me while I was learning, who were sharing their skills with me, who were giving me an opportunity to advance my career to the point that I was getting more confidence. Because obviously graduating with an arts degree, going in a totally different field of way, confidence is what I truly lacked at the time. But I think it's very important for everybody at some point to be able to follow the passion truly and do what we really want to do. And there's always be opportunities. I can see people finding opportunities in all industries, which they probably could have uncovered early, if not for the fear to go out and explore what can be done and try their level best.
And I love, you know, that this theme that's coming through about following your passion and doing what you want to do. I'm interested then, given that you have had such an interesting background and kind of innovative in your own background in many ways as well, from, you know, deciding you want to do arts and then deciding, well, okay, arts isn't really going to give me the money to live, so I'm going to go off and do IT. IT then gives you the money that you live, and you build these fabulous relationships with people that are supporting you to learn and grow. And as that happens, you're also then starting to bring back that creativity that attracted you to the arts degree in the first place. So I'm interested in, with all of those lessons and lifetime of learnings, what sort of suggestions do you have for other people about how they can create a successful mindset?
I think there are two key areas where probably they could focus on in order to accomplish more. And those are the areas I should have focused more on early on in life. One is certainly try to believe in yourself and have faith that in whatever you are undertaking, you are going to succeed with. Don't get overexcited, plan carefully, but do have faith and do give yourself a chance. And the second one is
before we go into the second one, sorry, I just really like to reflect a little bit on, so believing in yourself and having faith. Now, Michael, different people have different life journeys in whatever their careers are. What would you say has been when you've had to talk to yourself about, you know, come on, Michael, believe in yourself and have faith that this will work out? What are some practical examples of things that you did to help you believe that and help you keep coming back to that space?
I was always comforting myself by, you know, referring to the point that even if things go terribly wrong, I will always get a second chance and a third chance. So even if it doesn't work out this time, it will work out the next time around. For instance, when I was leaving paid employment in the corporate sector, which was a big decision, and I was leaving it not just to start the business, it was also to turn over a new leaf and start studying for a PhD degree and start working in academia. And there were considerable short-term risks, of course, because what if it wouldn't work out? I was very confident that, I don't know why, but at this stage I was already confident that even if I fail, even if I fall on the ground, I'll be able to stand up and keep going. And then always, if I want to go back to my old ways, if I want to go back and get a job again similar to what I was doing before, I could. And initially I thought, this is my backup. But later on, I realized it was actually my motivation to succeed. I didn't want to go back. The more I was doing things in a creative way, the more I was able to work independently, the more I realized I don't want to go back to the old ways of working. And this is why, for example, university work agreed with me much better than corporate work. Because while building up the business, of course, I had to do other work. And I discovered that there are so many ways to earn money creatively. For instance, working at universities. Also, you mentioned my passion for chess. I never really made it to professional chess level because at fairly early age, I decided that it's not a career to have. But then I thought if it comes to the worst, if business fails, I can always live off, traveling around the country, playing little tournaments and giving chess lessons. I will not starve. And I somehow felt that I need to try. I just realized that no matter what happens, it's not going to be the end. And that really kept me going because initially it was very hard with the business because when you are new, people don't really have trust in your services. I was talking to several companies and they knew me very well, including companies I wasn't paid employment with before. They knew my skills and abilities. They knew I had creative ideas that could be of benefit to the companies. But somehow, when you are a new kid on the block, they're a little bit reluctant to work with you. And I had to make others believe in myself, and the positive attitude was really helping. I felt that when I'm positive, people around me also get positive. And those who work for my company, those who work with me, I think it's very contagious. Positivity is truly contagious. If you are positive, others around you, the clients, the students, the business partners, the workers, everybody gets so positive.
I really hear what you're saying, and so thank you for explaining a little bit more about that believing in yourself and having faith. And I think you've described some really core elements around there of, even that negative motivation of I don't want to go back to that. That motivation to keep going, even though it's difficult and challenging at times, to keep going because you kind of knew what you didn't want anymore. The creativity again around, on that journey to building the business, it makes sense to have some part-time gigs like working in academia and other things that I'm sure you did. So building like not a plan B, but a support structure for that new pathways that you were doing. And as you so beautifully described, even, as you're giving yourself like those pep talks, going, well, what's the worst case scenario? I go back to playing chess. I enjoy myself playing chess. And that's not a bad worst case scenario. So there is no worst case scenario. And in that mindset, then you're building that positivity around it's all going to work out and it's all going to be good, whatever scenario happens. And you just take that next step forward and the next step and the next step.
Indeed. And also coming from overseas, as a teenager, I had to learn to, survive in a different environment. And one thing I discovered that if I'm really keen to work, if I'm really keen to explore new opportunities are always there because Australia is truly a country of opportunities. And also, there are so many knowledgeable not necessarily in academic sense, but people with different skills, people coming from different cultures. So there's so many new things I can learn that are going to help me throughout the journey. For instance, for me, one of the critical aspects of personal growth was embracing Australian culture, which many sometimes, get critical of, saying that the Australian workplaces may be not optimal, people don't work as hard as some other countries, but I really admired the way Australian companies are working, the way many small businesses are operating, how hardworking business operators are, and how passionate they're about what they're doing. Because if I'm to describe Australian environment with one word, the word would be passion.
Very passionate. And I think that sometimes that misconception, and I do think it's a misconception that Australians are not necessarily as hardworking as other cultures. Actually, misplaces what people have as more relaxed attitude to not being overly worried about things as opposed to working very hard, because I'm sure, as you know, in the small, medium-sized business environment, people are working day and nights and weekends. That's what I do because you're passionate and that's what you do for your business. And within corporate organisations nowadays, there's very little wiggle room because margins have been so shrunk. And so, again, people are working harder and longer than they ever have. So it is interesting and wonderful that you've seen those shifts and those changes within the Australian working environments, as well as perhaps some of those, because it still exists today. People still have that belief that, but it's like many cultural beliefs, you know, that everybody from Germany is very precise and going to get the trains running on time, and you know, other global kind of beliefs like that. I think that embracing the culture and moving and shifting with the culture is another fabulous tip that you're sharing there, because even within Australia, moving between states, between industries, between jobs, as people are becoming more mobile now, I think that understanding about learning from people that you meet and how they can help you on your journey is another fabulous, fabulous tip. I did stop you from sharing your second main tip that you wanted to share. I hope you do remember it now. Do you remember?
I do, Becky. Yes. So another thing that I think is not sure about others, but was really, really important for me is trying to understand that it's important to be proactive rather than reactive, because at the time technologies were not coming to life and developing at the same pace as they are now, but still the technological revolution was evident even before COVID. And I understood that if I am offering services that are focusing on companies being reactive, if I'm being reactive in my career development, I will not get very far, because even if I make myself better within the current environment, by the time I master certain skills, the environment will change. So I need to try to look, into the future, be a bit of a futurist, and try to be proactive and understand what the future workplaces will look like, what the future businesses will look like. And to me, it was very important because ever since graduating, with my jobs I was doing for others, I always felt like I'm one step behind. A new technology emerges, a new way of doing business emerges, then we're being invited to learn about it, then we're embracing it, mastering it, and by the time we feel like we're near perfection, if only perfection is possible to accomplish, then suddenly it's outdated already. And I learned it through technologies, but I think it's applicable to everything else in life as well, and everything else in the business environment. The importance of being proactive, and also when mistakes are made, learn from the mistakes, but not to feel sorry for yourself. Because if I start thinking about how many mistakes I've made throughout my journey, and I'd rather not, there've been many, of course, but you somehow keep moving on.
You do, and I think that everything that you're so beautifully describing is about this journey, and that whether it's about believing in yourself, or this fabulous second tip about being proactive rather than reactive. I was reflecting even this week around the differences. When I first joined the workforce, we were very lucky. We had training in things like, everybody uses Word and Excel now, but this was back in the dark ages where it was new. And so you did like Excel level, basic Excel intermediate and Excel advanced and this and that. And I was reflecting on the fact that, when Microsoft Teams or these other things get introduced, you actually don't have those trainings anymore. It's kind of assumed that you'll go off and learn it on your own or learn it from your colleagues. And so being proactive and managing your own technical skills and technical learnings has become far more important than it's ever been, because companies are not necessarily doing some of those core base level skills about how to do this or that in Teams and how to do this or that in many of the technologies that we take for granted today, in the same way that I haven't seen any companies, not yet, I'm sure it will come out, but ChatGPT and other AI technologies, there's not kind of a training course in how to use ChatGPT in your job in the same way that there was an Excel training course. So going out and being proactive and learning whatever today it's ChatGPT, tomorrow it could be something else, it could be ChatMPT or something like that. All of these different softwares that are integrated then into everyday life. It's important, I think, and I agree with you a lot, to be proactive, and when something starts to come out, go, oh, I need to go and learn that. I can't rely on my company, because by the time the company adopts it and says, oh yeah, we're going to bring that on board and everybody uses it, they kind of already assume now that everybody knows how to use Teams, knows how to do this, knows how to do that, and doesn't necessarily train people anymore in the way that they used to. And that learning from your mistakes, I think, is really a good part of that. So for people watching and going through different jobs or looking for jobs or running their own business, it's important to do that self-reflection, not in a negative way, like you beautifully pointed out, but to understand perhaps some of the gaps in your learning before, or your gaps in your approach to certain things about who you are and what's important to you, so that you keep building on those strengths that you so beautifully described.
Thanks, Michele. And yeah, I think once again you are truly spot on. But also one thing I would like to add is that one of the best things that I fell in love with in Australia is the Australian culture of helping others, and it also expanded. And I think we need to really make sure that we keep it to workplaces. And when I was starting out with jobs, it was not just about companies training me. It was also about people around me assisting me with all kind of new beginnings, all kind of learnings. And it was truly instrumental. So my colleagues used to share their skills with me. They used to assist me to move into new space. And now that I'm in a position to help others, I find it really important to keep it going. So trying to create more opportunities for university students, for people who are job seekers, for people who are simply trying to learn new skills. I think it's really important that we keep this culture going, because this is so important, and in many ways it's been central to what I've been able to accomplish, others helping me along the journey.
And you raise a fabulous final point there, Michael, around especially as you're going through and first learning skills and learning trades, whatever that might be, you do, and so beautiful in Australia especially, have so many other people that are very, very generous with their time and knowledge. And then that giving back part of Australian culture, which I think is very beautiful as well.
I think it's really important just to keep going no matter what, and think positively, and never feel, no matter what happens, just never feel sorry for yourself, and never to procrastinate, because those were things that probably accompanied me, procrastination and sorrow, at some point in life when I was graduating from uni, because that was a bit of uncertainty, and overcoming this was truly instrumental.
Yeah, and so thank you, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. So somebody that might be in that procrastination space, watching things like today's show can actually help shift you out of that. And it's just choosing to watch more and more of things like this to help you to move on. Michael, what would be the best way for people to then contact you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Dr. Michael Barron on LinkedIn, and I'm always very happy to chat to those who are looking for work in my domain, for those who are maybe happy to share some interesting stories, want to ask my opinion on some matters where they think my opinion could be of help to them. Generally, I'm very happy to network with others because I think our whole culture of sharing, we really need to keep it going, because this is what's been assisting so many of us, including myself, in order to have enjoyable life. And I think successful life is by any means got to be an enjoyable life.
Definitely, definitely. And finally, if you were to give some advice into your younger self, what might that advice be?
Well, the first part would be to listen to others' advice, because younger self was never listening to what people were telling me. Unfortunately, I was not open-minded enough, possibly because there were so many changes happening in my life. So I was absorbing the changes and I was trying to find my way around. As well as this, just believe in yourself and ask yourself, what is it that you are passionate about? And what is it that you really want to be doing? It doesn't have to be, to do with technology, to do with any other emerging industry. Could be really anything. Technology could be part of it.
Wonderful, wonderful way to finish the show. That the journey could be more exciting and more interesting than the destination. Dr. Michael Barron, it's been such an absolute pleasure. Thank you so, so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for coming over, Michelle, and thank you so much for running this show, because I think it's really helpful to so many people. You're assisting those who could be possibly at the crossroads to find their path in life, and this is very important. So I really admire your efforts.
Thank you, Michael, and I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And for those people watching and the regular viewers, thank you so, so much for all of the fabulous feedback and comments that we keep receiving about how much you're enjoying it. But for now, from my heart to your heart, be great, be fabulous, and be you.